this is Natalie of the Vintage Cross Stitch Niche bringing you another video. So today we're going to do some educational stuff. I'm going to show you how to stitch from stash when picking a chart. So you're going to pick the chart and you're going to use your stash and make a masterpiece without buying anything else but the chart. So that's one thing we're going to do. I'll show you what I'm working on, some new items, some old items, what else? And then a little response just to some nasty comments, and I'll let you decide for yourself if I feel I have a right to feel the way I do. So let's begin. I always begin with a finish. I do not have a finish other than, I don't know if you remember when I showed you this little piece. Okay. So this is a freebie from Liz Matthews, and it was stark white, stark. So I really didn't like it, and yesterday I had a little coffee left over. Again, frugal, use your leftover coffee. You can actually save it for a little bit in the fridge. You can freeze it, okay? And then when you want to dye something, you defrost it and heat it up. Hotter coffee, I think, works better. So I just dipped this in a little cup of coffee, left it for a few hours. Then I rinsed it. I have not ironed it, but I will. And now I had picked this little frame for it, and I love the gold for Christmas. I love the gold. So I thought this would now look so much better than that stark white. So let's fold this and show you what it's going to look inside the frame. Now I think I'm going to put some embellishment around the edges to make it look even a little more interesting. Let's just see if we can squish this in here so you get a better view. I'm squishing. Okay, so you get the idea, and if there's extra room, I'm going to put some trimming in there. I have some gold trimming, and it's going to look really cute. Just adorable. I could use this as my giveaway because we are coming up. I do have a ornament size project for a giveaway. If it comes out fantastic, I might, but I'm working on another giveaway, and I'll show you that in a bit. Okay. Sort of a finish. And now I'll show you what I'm working on. Jesus Wept by the Scarlet Letter. I finally found one online. Okay. Finally found one online that somebody did on a Scarlet Letter Blog. You're not going to believe who started the blog. Nicola Parkman. She was a big Scarlet Letter fan, and her goal was to have multiple people actually stitch the Scarlet Letter charts and post them on there, and there's a whole bunch. I will link that blog below. I will link it, and you can go see these amazing finishes by people. And there's a picture of Nicola in there that is beautiful. She's a little younger. And not that she's not beautiful now, because she is an incredibly beautiful and classy lady, and talented. But just to see an older picture and see what she was into before she started Hands Across the Sea. It's not an active blog, but it's all there. I'm almost tempted to download the photos in case that blog disappears. Anyway, it's the only picture I found of this. And it's going to be beautiful. Once again, It's on 37 or 35, 37 count Russian tea cake by Legacy Linen. And it's upside down. Here you go. Isn't that pretty? You know, I'm wondering if this light's any good. I'm going to try pushing my camera back. Hold on 1 minute. Pulling the camera back to be under the light. I'm going to try that. And pushing my table a little forward. Okay. And let's see if that shows up better. So once again, I showed you the chart. Let's show you my whip. And I think it does. So this is over 1, the entire thing. All right. And here are my flosses. Once again, put on my Amazon Find really nice, really nice drops with the colors put on here with a little label maker. And these are all Tudor silks, which are thin, beautiful Tudor silks. So that's what I'm working on. Scissor I'm using is this Nogent scissor. And I can't reach this camera, so I'm going to have to make it closer. So be it. This is what you should like about these videos, is they're not professional and they're not edited in any way. There you go. Okay, so that's what I'm working on. New finds. Let's put this over here. Jesus wept over here. New finds. Not really many. I found this at a thrift store. This is a really super old Crown canning jar with a glass lid, and then this galvanized whatever collar crown. How cool is that? I almost wish it didn't have the glass lid. These are so cool for storing pencils, storing anything in them that you would want to stand up. Rulers, larger scissors, anything, and they look really cool. I have another one sitting on in my bathroom that I put toothpaste in. Why not add a cool factor to your home? So this is really good. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. Could you make a stitchy finish out of this? I suppose you could probably put something small on top. You can put floss inside, little floss, spools. That would look super cool. So anyway, this was, I don't know, I think this was around $1. I was lucky. And this at this thrift store, and I washed this thoroughly, really thoroughly, hot soapy water. Everything gets washed, including the collar. And I've never seen one before with a crown. If anybody knows about these jars, you can educate me. I'm not an expert in mason jars, other than I love the old ones. I think they're just really cool. I did de-stash a little bit yesterday. I sold a whole bunch of charts and things, and some kits of the samplers. I might do a little bit more today. I sold almost everything except for one kit. So again, I have to pick and choose what I'm going to do, and de-stashing is great. I hope that I don't end up rebuying after I de-stash. I'm really trying not to do that. I also finally packaged and sent my 2 samplers and a third little piece that I could not decide what to do with out to the attic to do virtual framing. So the way it's going to work is they have my cell phone, and basically I told them what I like, and I can even give them more feedback, and they'll send me photos of the frame sample next to the sampler, and I'll pick that way. The cross-stitch cupboard no longer does, well, for now, no longer does framing because the wonderful framer, she retired. Good for her. I think that's wonderful. Bad for us because we no longer have a trustworthy framer, and she did a phenomenal job. Everything I have framed in here almost was framed by her. I would stay away from at least South Florida, Hobby Lobby's and Joann's framers. I had 1 or 2 things framed by them way back when, and they did a horrible job. So one of them was framed in such a way that they did not, I guess I should have known better, but they didn't put any backing on it, and you can see right through it. It was a gift. Very upsetting to me, but I know better. Send it to a good framer. I posted, I don't remember on my page or a different one, hey, does anybody, I think it was on my page, does anybody have the name of a decent framer? And I did get a bunch of recommendations. The reason I'm sending it to the attic, and I did call them first to confirm that they'll do this, is that I know that they'll do a good job. I just know it. And I'm sure these other places will, but I figured the attic, you know, they're not gonna produce a bad product. So we'll see. We'll see how long it takes and get back with you. What am I selling today? I priced something basically at what I paid for it. And I bought this at an antique show. At antique shows, in general, you'll pay going rate for items. You won't necessarily get bargains, although you can. So don't be afraid of antique shows and vintage shows, because sometimes you do find bargains. This was one of a kind. I've never seen another one for sale. It's a 14 karat scissor. I put this up for sale. Look how nice the tips are. It cuts. Not as tight as I'd like it, but I didn't mess with the screw. If you send some of these, if you trust somebody really with these, it could tighten them up for you. Very beautiful. Okay. And I put them up. They're not cheap. But then again, John Rouleau handmade scissors went for $7.50, and these are going, I think I'm asking $4.90 for them. I think, is that what? It's around what I paid. So as you can see, they're 6 grams of gold. Gold is, I don't know, around $27 a gram, $28 a gram. Although probably 1 gram of it is the tips. I don't know, maybe 1.5 grams. I don't think there's any way you could possibly tell without taking them apart. And Lord help me if somebody took these apart, I'd be so upset. But these are highly unusual, especially having the sheath. You'll never find them with the sheath again. Why am I selling them? Because I love scissors. But I love scissors that I'll use, and I probably wouldn't use these. These are more collectors, more people who take photographs, for example, for their business, things like that. People who have a business who'd love to put these up somewhere as a collector, you know, something like that. And I'm not going to use them. They're too nice to use. So, and sometimes I just time to destash, and then I'll have more money for other scissors. I love them. So anyway, we'll see if they sell. If they don't sell for what I paid for them, I'm not reducing the price. I'll just keep them because they're one of a kind. All right, let's put these over here. Now to the meat of the video. The meat of the video is education. So I have a retreat coming up in July that's put on by the Flamingo Stitcher. Her name is Alicia. She does, I think it's Flamingo Stitcher, Stitching Flamingo. Anyway, she started a business where she's doing retreats, and she's also doing mystery boxes. And now she started out as just everybody else, and then a floss tuber, and now a business person. And congratulations, I think that's awesome. And she's also as sweet as can be, just the nicest person. I've met her in person down here because she is a South Floridian. And anyway, the exchange is going to be an ornament, and my friend had this chart, so she lent it to me, my friend Mary. And why not do a flamingo base thing? How cool is that? Flamingo bells. How cool. Okay. So there are 9 Weeks Dye Works colors. And so you have the colors. What's interesting is you can sort of tell by the name of the colors what they are. And there's also a DMC availability on here. So, and you have a very good photo that you could borrow from, that you can just look at. So there's 3 different ways of matching colors for this. One is eyeballing it, just looking at the photo and picking from your stash. Another is looking at the Weeks Dye Works, which you may or may not know. I'll give you some of the colors. You can guess what they are. Sockeye is going to be a salmon color. Hunter, is going to be a green. Aztec red goes without saying. Okay, so you can really pick them. So I'll show you what I have. Can you see this? This is a fabulous idea. So you get these very big rings. And anytime you have a leftover floss or an extra floss or whatever, and I have some flosses that I love from Victorian Motto, for example. Her colors are amazing, okay? And you just stick them on this giant ring, and you hang them from here, from the handle, okay, which is a dowel handle. This is an old antique, okay? This is a tool cat. I got this at the antique show. This was $50. Very fair price. I've seen them go for a lot more. There are smaller ones. Let me show you. This one I didn't pay much for, but look at it. It's beautiful. So this is the baby version of this. These come in incredibly handy. Okay? As do these. These are utensil caddies, they're called. What to look for is solid construction. This one does have some wear consistent with age, but ultimately it's very solid. The original color was blue. Let's see if you can see that. Can you see that blue? Isn't that pretty? Like a robin's egg blue. I don't know if just the inside was painted that or the outside, but it certainly looks very like they did that on purpose. The outside I don't think had paint, and these are some old nails, and somebody made this. Somebody made this for their tools. Who knows when? But these dowels come in really handy for hanging the floss. Like this big one, they just hang perfectly, and you can always find So what you can do is look at your photo, if it's a good photo. If it's not a good photo, you can't do this, and say, there's a little bit of red on there. Let's just match it up and find the red. Okay? One way of doing it, like I said, or it says Aztec red and just picking a red. Now, what you're going to do is put them all together and see how they look. Because the other way of doing it is with this wonderful tool. This is a DMC floss card holder. This has a ton of colors. In fact, every color. And it's really the floss. It's actually the floss. It is not the, it's not the picture of the floss. So these are a little more expensive to buy. They're huge. Okay? They have every color known to DMC. They come out with a new color. I guess they put it on their new version. I've had this a while. I got this at the Cross Stitch Cupboard. Wonderful. So all you need to do is you look at your DMC, for example, 167. You open up your floss and you find 167. And what this will tell you, this is in alphabetical order, is which column it's on. And then you find your actual floss. Now, if you have a bunch of DMC in a big bucket somewhere, you can easily now eliminate something by eyeballing and find the actual floss relatively easy. Or you just go onto your pick some colors. Now, these are pinks and purples. Pinks, purples, and salmons. I just randomly put them on there. And you can just find what color you're looking for. Just match them up. Eyeball it, match them up. Okay. Easy peasy. In fact, this is the easiest way. I usually start that way. Okay? For whatever reason, I pick my floss. And then, once you pick your floss, what's very important is that you hold them up, study them together, and make sure they coordinate. Okay? Make sure that they look good together, because, let's get this closer. Okay? And these do. Because you don't want to, sometimes you get these shades and they just don't go. You can hold it next to your card. Okay? And see, do they go? And yes, they do. Okay? These might be a slightly different shade. That's okay. You want them close, but it doesn't have to be matchy-matchy. The only critical thing is that they look good together. Okay? This should take you for 9, maybe a half hour to do. That's it. So now we've eliminated the need to buy floss. Once we're done with these flosses, we're gonna put them back, little bits and pieces. Okay. Now the hard part. You need to decide what frame you're going to use. This is maybe hard part. Now, the problem with this is the frame you use is going to be dependent on the count. Okay? So let's say, and I sort of like this frame. I think that would look adorable in there. Let's say I want to use this frame, and this isn't a vintage frame. I don't know when it's from, but it's not contemporary. It's metal, for one thing. Nowadays, you bought one of these on Amazon, it would be plasticky. Nice metal, velvet back. Once again, thrifty find. Buy these things when you see them. You won't be sorry. So we need to measure and see how big should this be to fit in that frame. I need to get a measuring tape. I'll be right back. Don't worry, I'm here. Okay. If you see these little measuring tapes at thrift stores, pick them up. I think that these small, construction little tapes are perfect because they hold. They hold. You don't have to like sit there and fuss with it, and you'll get your exact measurements. So let's look at this. Okay, let's look at this. I'm going to do this. Unfortunately, I don't think you can see, but just hold on one second. Now, you don't want your project going all the way to the end because A, it might stretch, and B, it won't work. You need to go a little bit in. And I will show you something on this card is that the stitch count is 48 by 62, but there seems to be a little margin there. So you got a little bit of a margin. So you're going to be, I'd rather have it a little on the small side and add an embellishment than have it too big and you can't use the frame. So let's look at this. Measuring. It looks like 3 1/4 inches by 2 1/2. 3 1/4 by 2 1/2 would be max for this frame. I've used a cross stitch calculator to figure out how big this is going to be based on different counts, of fabric. Went on the cross stitch calculator, put 0 in for margin because you want to just know how big your actual piece is going to be. That's what's most important. Okay? So I went on there, and on 40 count, it looks like the piece will be 3 1/8 by 2 3/8. Will this fit? Set this to 3 1/8. Okay. And you can see. Okay, will it fit? Yes. So 3 1/8 will fit. And then 2 3/8. So you can go on 2 3/8. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And that also will fit. So on 40 count, let me just do that 3 1/8 again because I want to make sure it's going to fit. And there is a little bit of a margin on here, so I'm not too concerned. 3 1/8, you have to make sure that it's not too close to the edge. And this is good. Here you go. 3 1/8 will fit. Okay, so I have to use 40 count in order to use this frame. Okay, so that would be 40. Got to remember that, 40. So let's say you have another frame. This one's also a vintage frame. This is a fabulous vintage frame with a saying in it. I don't like the saying. It's about you. I think not great sayings, but anyway. I'm not sure. This is way too vintagey to go with this. So I think the gold is a good way. I found this one. Okay. This is not that old, but probably 70s, 80s, something like that. It's a little better quality than you usually find. Frugal collection. Okay. So if you want to, and I thought this might look actually kind of cool. So you want to figure out what you need for this. Now, of course, this is going to be a smaller count fabric, a lower count fabric, because the piece will be bigger. So let's see what would go well on here. And that probably you'll measure, let's see, probably max 5 by 3, 3 by 5. And I looked and saw that on 32 count, you will get 3 by 3 7/8. Okay? So that's really about almost 3 by 4, which will fit in here. You will maybe have a little margin on the top and the bottom, which kind of is cool because you can put some trimming in there, which would look, or some rickrack or something, which will look absolutely fine. All right. So if I want to use this, I need 32 count. 30 count might work too. It's 3 1/4 by 4 1/8. A little tighter. Nah, it's going to be tight in here, 3 1/4. It's going to be just to the edge. Although I said there is a margin here, so it might work. But anyway, 30, 32 count will work on this. 40 count will work on this. Even higher than 40 count would be a little better too. All right, so I've got my floss card. I've got some frame possibilities. Okay, and I've got my floss. Next, the fabric, which I find the more difficult thing. Okay, so called for fabric, which looks quite good here, is Icelandic blue. It's a shade of blue. To me, it's got a little green tinge. I have a lot of these are all pieces, Y-Guard. I have 2 boxes of this. And by the way, these plastic Amazon boxes are awesome. So let's go through some blues. This is Y-Guard. This is 36 count. First, I'll sort of look at colors, and I think it's too blue. Gray, white. Let's see if I have anything that will go. The only real blue in here that would look beautiful is water lily. Okay. White Chelt water lily, I think would look really nice with this. Really nice. Would it look good with the gold? Let's see. This is 40 count. Would it look good with this gold? Yeah, I think it would. I like the gold. The gold bells. There is gold in here. Actually, the gold bells, you can go look, are these bells, the colorful color is close to apple cider. I'm actually going to change this out. Now, this is a process. You say, wow, what would look good with this fabric? A little more gold, because I think that'll pick up the frame. And all I do is go to my golds. This is 1 gold. I have 2 golds. And we can look at something that's close that maybe has a little more gold. This is not good. These are more oranges, yellows, a few golden hues. This has got a bunch of golds in it. And let's just get something that's close to this, but has a more gold hue. And mustard seed does. I would like something really gold. This is Amber Waves. And that looks really good, actually. And this is Goldenrod. And those are Victorian motto. That's really quite bright. That actually might look really good. I like that. Goldenrod. Or even Christmas ornament. Ha! And for whatever reason, this was cut wrong. But I saved it. Perfectly fine for this project. And I think this should be it. It's not cut wrong, it's just put on here. It was pre-cut. So instead of apple cider, we're going to use Victorian motto Christmas ornament. Once again, you need to hold it up, make sure it fits, and it does. And that actually, I think, will look kind of nice on here. on 40 count. That's a possibility. All right. It'll look close to what it looked like in here. So that's a possibility. I think that's the only one in here that I would use. And then I have some of this. This is just, I had pulled this out specifically for this piece. This is 36 count shabby chic, which would give us 3.5 by 2 5/8, which is too big for that, but 3.5, which I don't have a frame for. 3.5 actually by 2 5/8 would look fabulous in this frame. Might be too antique-y for this. Might not be. Okay, too antique-y. So this won't work because it's too tight. This is more like 40 count though. I've very tight linen. Angel blush, no. This is, I believe, 32 or 28 count. It's sparkly. Somehow, just not doing it for me. I'm gonna look through this. So like I said, this is the hard part. Finding the linen from your stash. I have cats trying to get in my room. When in doubt, you can always use a neutral linen, okay? Like a white or an off-white. Let's see, where is this? I'm really liking this. I'm really liking that. This is what I'm going to use. It's the perfect linen. Okay. I think that's closer to 40 count. So you get the idea. Once we do it, we'll put them in the frames that we have and see what works. And if it doesn't work, I'll be on the hunt for another frame, or we'll make it into an ornament. But you get the idea of how this works. You gather your stuff, you put it together, you use what you have, and it's called frugal stitching. Okay. This is really cool. So I think, you know, I've used this fabric before. This is made by Heart Stitch Threads. It's from Italy. I mean, look at that color. Perfect for flamingo. It's just screams flamingo. And the floss looks really good on it too. Floss looks good minus the hunter green. Again, change them out. Definitely do that. We just need a green that's kind of close to hunter green, okay, with a little blue tinge, and we will find it. This is like a holly. Let's get, and this is old pine. Ooh, I love it. Okay, so Victorian motto seems to be winning today. So we're going to go from Victorian Christmas to old pine. Okay, and I'll show you what this is going to look like. They're both in the Christmassy green category, but it will go better with our floss. All right. Right. We just got another. So this works. You should save all your floss. If you've done a project, stick it on your ring. I've got ones on here that I haven't taken off some of the rings yet. This was from a Halloween project. Okay. And I left them on. These are cool. These are like the shining rug. So these, I haven't really taken them off. Probably should take them off these really nice rings and put them on some paper stuff. I gotta either buy some or make some. It's pretty easy to make them. But anyway, we'll get to that. So this is the process. So I'm now set on the linen and the floss. Let's hold this up. Set on the linen and the floss. Once again, linen and floss picked from stash. Okay. And we will see if any of these frames work once it's stitched. Sometimes you get these numbers and they just, for whatever reason, on a tight linen or a loose linen, don't seem to pan out. They might be close, but they don't pan out. So the final pick is going to be once it's stitched, but you certainly could look at these frames and get a color scheme that looks good with these. And I like gold. I think gold will work. So you've now seen a process. Now for the end of the video, please turn this off. I think this is more for me than for you. But you can turn this video off now because you may not want to hear my response to some of your responses. So I did a video about what I sensed was the cross stitch of politics, not politics, the cross stitch of politics. The majority of the responses, whether or not they agreed with me, were very polite and thought out. And I thank you for that. There were a few of you, a very few, I think 3 or 4 responses, which were not nice and not thought out, and which proved my point that there are tyrants and mean girls. I'm going to call them mean girls or guys, who knows, but probably girls in the cross-stitch world. So I'm going to tell you just about a few of the comments. One of them, or 2 of them, were on abortion. What the heck? I only used abortion as the abortion discussion as an example of how there's so much propaganda out there. I did not say what my feeling on abortion was. I just used it as a propaganda example. And I am an expert. Okay? I'm an OBGYN for 33 years. Okay? I've seen and done abortions at one point or another. I take care of miscarriages, ectopics, molar pregnancies, and others on a regular basis because I do emergency call at a regional hospital, meaning we get transfers from a whole other bunch of hospitals with no OBGYN services. Okay? So yeah, I'm an expert. Do not argue with me. With that said, there are people on this side and on that side who spew propaganda. I'm not even going to go over what the propaganda is, but they're all false. Some of their statements are crazy and are meant to scare people on both sides. Okay? That was it. I don't want any comments on abortion. All I can tell you is that propaganda, mean girls, crazy people exist everywhere and in our world as well. Okay, enough of that. I'm putting that to rest. 2, there was a person on there, and she has 2 different accounts. I'm not going to say what they are, but she chose to just make comments, 2 different comments. One was, you don't like rules. And the truth is, of course, I appreciate rules. Okay? When I understand them and when they're enforced evenly. Okay? So sometimes I don't when I first started all this, I didn't really understand how destashing worked, for example. I didn't understand. And to this day, I don't know the difference between putting a bunch of photos out versus making an album. I don't see a difference. Maybe I'm nuts. I don't know. But this particular person put that out there. So she obviously didn't care about anything I had to say other than you don't like rules. That was her comment. The other person, the alter ego, said something about, ha ha, you overpaid for your scissors. I enjoy seeing people overpay. I laugh, she said. That's mean. So you bought scissors, and let's say you contacted his daughter. Was it after he died, John Rouleau? So if you contacted the daughter after Don Rouleau died, it's like having a neighbor who dies and contacting one of the kids about his car. I mean, come on. I wouldn't even spread that around, but yeah, supply and demand, meaning supply down, demand up. Yeah, the scissors were expensive. I love to save money and tell others how to save money, but sometimes I will pay what the market rate is for something that I want because I have the FOMO like everyone else. Okay? I would never laugh or make fun of somebody who does the same. Come now. Why was that comment necessary? Okay? And then the third person just was a nut job. She wrote useless vid with a little dot. Now this person went on every single one of my floss tubes and made rude comments. I don't even know who these people are. To me, the comments were based on the title and they weren't even read. One of them said, I bet you're fun at parties. It was on the party one. Who the heck knew? So I think this person may not even be a stitcher, could be a random crazy. And anonymous people, what they feel are anonymous out there, anonymous people feel like they can make rude comments. Now, this person has been blocked. They also were reported for bullying. But they did something really interesting. They proved my point that there are crazies out there and bullies and tyrants who will just blurt out mean things. I'm not immune. I'm not immune. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I try. Okay? I try not to put people down. I try to have meaningful conversations. Sometimes you can't. There are issues that I feel very strongly about. And yeah, will that come out as I'm very opinionated? Absolutely, because I feel strongly about them. And these issues, for the most part, will affect me personally. So that is all I'm going to say. My video proved a point. And those three commenters, there might have been more. I deleted somebody. So there might have been more. But those commenters proved that the tyrants are out there, because those were tyrants that actually commented. I'm never going to say anything about this again. And any comments below, which are rude, will just be deleted. Don't even bother. Deleted and blocked. You can be blocked from my channel. You can make if you want to go ahead and make a new one, a new persona on there, that'll block too. All right. This video will be associated with a giveaway. Oh, my last giveaway was fantastic. This box, and now I'm not showing you guys, but this mystery box has probably got about $120 to $150 worth of stuff in it, because this person was so gracious and nice and wanted me to pick out things based on friendship. So I just picked out things based on friendship and camaraderie, and I put them in here, and she's going to love this box. I love this box. So anyway, if these are really good giveaways, I only get like 30, 40 people max sometimes. I've gotten 100, but you know, I guess people don't really feel like they're going to win, or they don't really want to watch the video to participate. It is what it is. But if you do participate in those giveaways on my page, then that's great. You have a chance to win really spectacular things. These videos, I don't know, make 20 bucks each. All that does is go towards the giveaway. And I get nothing from anybody to give on these. Are all items that I have purchased. Okay? Anyway, Have a great week and a nice Sunday, and I hope you learned something from this video. We'll talk to you later. Bye.